Hey, what's up, everybody? I got a new light and I can see a few things I don't like to see here up close on my face. What's going on? It's Kenny Lamons here with Medicare Millennials. Today, I want to talk to you guys about something most new agents don't know this, and a lot of people early on in their journey as an insurance agent don't know this. But one of the main reasons that people fail, you hear all the time, 90%, 92% of agents fail. But one of the main reasons I believe actually boils down to call reluctance. So I did a real short video on this, and I thought that it would be helpful to do a little bit more expansive video on what is call reluctance, okay? Why do so many agents encounter it? And how can we overcome it or bypass it altogether so we don't have to worry about call reluctance? Because the fact of the matter is, I don't care if you've done some type of telesales in the past or if you've worked in a call center, it's different in the insurance space, okay? And so you may very well encounter call reluctance. So I want to help train and coach you guys from my experience on what it is, why you're going to have to deal with it, and how we can overcome it, okay? So let's jump right into it. All right, let's start with what is call reluctance, okay? Because we know it's obviously a big obstacle for many newer agents. I guess the simplest way to explain call reluctance is just the fear of or the lack of desire to get on the phone and call potential prospects. Okay, that can be scary. I know I started out with a cold call list calling about Medicare supplement rate increases. Just I felt like the biggest bozo in the world. It took me a long time to get trained up and get confident in it. So I understand being fearful of getting on the phone. And I understand having a lack of desire, because who wants to be told no a million times? If you're not that good at it, even when people are answering the phone, maybe you're not being very effective and you're not getting appointments or sales if you're doing telesales. So I can understand the lack of desire to make calls as well. But let me explain that, phone calls are just so critical and important, even if you're not a telesales agent, that we've got to overcome it, okay? So why are we fearful? I kind of explained. It really boils down to a lack of confidence. So if you've never had success selling an insurance product, or you've never felt that amazing feeling of really helping a family, let's say, with a gigantic prescription drug cost problem they had, or helping them get life insurance for the very first time. And when you hear that call from the daughter, the bittersweet call that their father passed away, but they're so thankful that that life insurance benefit was there to take care of the funeral, you haven't experienced that yet, okay? You haven't effectively sold these products and solved the problems. So you don't have the confidence that somebody that's 1, 3, 5 years into an insurance career has, and that's understandable. We also have a fear of rejection. Any type of sales is going to require a lot of rejection. And there's a million different ways to minimize rejection and yada fancy things, but you can never avoid rejection. It's like trying to avoid pain in life. There's going to be hard. If you don't do difficult things, you're not going to get anything big out of your life. If you can't handle the rejection that comes with being in an insurance sales career, you will never achieve greatness and have success, okay? So why do we experience call reluctance? A lack of confidence and a fear of no and rejection, okay? So let's talk about how we can overcome that first, and then I'm going to give you a quick tip on how we can avoid call reluctance for the most part for some of you agents out there, okay? So I'm going to look at my notes here and make sure I don't skip ahead. So how do we overcome it? Okay, well, if we have a lack of confidence, it all starts out with good scripts, good training, and a good sales process, okay? So if you have here's what I think a good script is. There is no magic collection of words that makes one person's phone script so much better than another, okay? There is a million different phone scripts that would work perfectly fine if they had a few things in common, okay? They got to be clear and concise, okay? They need to be, the template that you follow needs to stay the same from call to call, because that's the only way that we have a like a vantage point to look back on and say, here's where we went wrong, so here's where we can improve. So right, it needs to be consistent and it needs to be clear and concise as far as it relates to the product or the appointment that we're trying to set. Okay, and there's a lot of different scripts that accomplish that. Feel free to reach out to us if you want to know some of the scripts that we use, or if you're interested in working with us. Good script, good sales process, and you need to be trained on that. So if you're not getting any scripts and you're not getting any training on how to do it, then maybe you need to have a conversation with somebody else or do something different from what you're doing. Because the moment that you get a script that you're like, okay, I can say this, it's clear, it's concise. You know, if I do this 15 times, I can look at it and see where I'm going wrong, so I know I can improve. Your confidence is going to grow. And then when you get that feedback and that training from somebody else who's used or is using that script, you're going to grow more and more confident, okay? Number 2 is just repetition. I don't care how good your script is. I don't care how good your trainer is. You, as a newer insurance agent, will never be good on the phones unless you put in repetition and time. It just comes with experience. You can't memorize every single objection all at once that people are going to give you. You can't learn the nuances. Let me give you an example. Setting an appointment for final expense life insurance is night and day different from setting an appointment for Medicare. Not so much that the demographic's pretty much the same. The script really is pretty similar. It's all based around you had a problem, there was an advertisement you responded to solve the problem. I'm just the guy to get you the information, see if I can help you solve the problem, right? Like the script isn't going to be night and day different, same demographic, but there's nuances that are just specific to final expense that are different from Medicare, that are different than if you were setting an appointment to, you know, install a new roof on somebody's home. The nuance, right? And that nuance can only be learned and mastered and understood through experience, okay? And then the third thing is just building confidence, not through the front end training and scripts, but through success. I've heard a lot of great agents tell their stories, and a lot of what their stories said, man, when it really clicked for me, when did it click? Is when you went through hell trying to book appointments, and you finally met that person. They loved you as a person. You loved them as a person. They became your client. You solved a problem for them. You got paid because of solving that problem. Like it was this harmonious moment where it all came together and then it clicked. And you go, as long as I know that making these calls leads to that, and a good amount of that, I can do this. I'm more confident. I understand what lies on the other side of this phone call. Okay, and you won't care so much about the rejection because you understand what you're working towards, okay? Now, another quick little note, cold calling a list is different than calling a direct mail lead, which is different than calling an inbound referral that came from your grandma, okay? So, yeah, you're going to get more or less rejection also based on lead type. You have to factor that in as well, okay? But at the end of the day, no matter what type of lead or lack of lead that you're working, the confidence in your phone calls and your phone abilities come down to a good script and sales process that you're trained on, repetition, and then building confidence through success, through getting the outcome. I think it's Grant Cardone who says in the 10X rule, most people quit or basically, what does he say? He says most people think they don't want to put in the work. They think that the work sucks because they've never put in it long enough and hard enough to actually get the win, the result, and to, so they don't really understand, they don't have the perspective on why it's worth putting that work in, okay? Okay, here's another option for you. So you've got training, you've got scripts, you put in repetition, and you just suck. You cannot book appointments. I know agents that are just like you. I know a final expense guy, he does nothing but door knock, and he sells more than I ever sold in final expense. That's fine, door knock. There are other ways to get in front of prospects, group settings, door knocks. You can do an appointment setter, but you better, I don't know how you're going to train an appointment setter if you've never at least been trained on and know how to book your own appointments. But nonetheless, you could bypass the phones and just still buy leads, still got to get in the house. But if you like doing that face-to-face, you can always door knock. So, which I just did a video on recently. Hey, I hope this was helpful, guys. This is a critical part of being successful as an insurance agent. Reach out if you have any questions. Drop any comments below. We'd love to hear from you guys.